This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live. It's a freaking Monday. Let's start off by saying praise be to Gorth. Last night, I was in and out on the Echoplex chat. I watched a little bit of Echoplex, and then I watched John Oliver, and I ate dinner. Played a little video games, watched Rick and Morty, and then I came back to the Echoplex chat. This was at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, my time. Producer Dave was having a conversation with another streamer by the name of Nathan L. And apparently, other streamers have had quite the few run-ins with Nathan L. He had called poly people an it, which upset me greatly. But he told it, and I was smoking a bowl with my best friend 30 minutes ago, and I had to tell him the story of Gorth. Because the motherfucker came on the show, said he was the most rational person. Seemingly made that assertion that he was the most rational person in the world. An hour into conversation with producer Dave, he starts telling the story of Gorth. Dave accused it of being an alien conspiracy. Nathan L. corrected him and said, no. It's just based on ancient alien technology. Unfortunately, after leaving Echoplex's chat, I go over to Nathan L. and I'm still talking to him, and his moderator in his chat said that he thought producer Dave was belittling him, and I said, no, he wasn't belittling you. You're just dumb. Banned! He'd even made a comment about producer Dave saying he was going to cut him off after like 2 hours of conversation and watch something else because, it ran its course, and the dude was like, oh, you're going to deplatform me? Dude bans me from the chat just for pointing out the obvious. I do have a show planned tonight, though. Oh, shit. Where are my notes? I don't have them up. I wasn't prepared. We're going to talk about Obama's birthday party and all the different celebs and all the shit that they wore to Martha's Vineyard. I avoided talking about it yesterday, but we're going to talk about it today. Let's segue into something else I want to talk about. Joe Biden has been disinvited by the families of the 9/11 survivors from the 20th anniversary memorial. I don't know what kind of cake, but maybe we'll find out in the piece. I doubt it. I don't think we're going to talk about that. Joe Biden has been disinvited from the 9/11 20th anniversary memorial unless he declassifies the documents dealing with Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11. Can't wait to talk about that one. We're going to discuss South Africa, which has descended into chaos over the last few weeks. Taliban has taken over an entire city in Afghanistan. Oh, there's a new report on climate change, and guess what? We're fucked. Speaking of fucked, a bunch of employees at a Family Dollar all quit. That Family Dollar is fucked. We're going to talk about how conservatives need to go on the offensive against cancel culture. Oh, we're also going to touch on the newly unveiled reconciliation package, the $3.5 trillion budget resolution being helmed by Bernie Sanders. That's why you're seeing a picture of him right there. Got some good shit in it. I've got to admit that I was wrong. It looks like the first bill, the $1.5 trillion bill, the one that has like 500, 600 billion in new spending, 1.4 trillion, whatever the fuck it was. The bipartisan Portman Cinema bill looks like it's going to pass tomorrow afternoon. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder to get it through. But now we are on our way to the reconciliation bill, which apparently we should be rooting on. But first, tonight, as we do every night, let's talk about how coronavirus is taking over the world. Yeah, I made a Pinky in the Brain joke. Children's hospitals see spike in COVID-19 cases in high transmission areas, which, by the way, we saw the map last night. That's pretty much the entire United States. I wish they would quit having these designations. It's the whole fucking country right now. Hospitals in areas of the country where coronavirus cases are rising, which is everywhere, are seeing an uptick in the number of children who are sick with the disease, according to a new report. Healthcare professionals in several states and cities with rising coronavirus cases told NBC News the age of patients they are treating for coronavirus is lowering as the Delta variant of the virus rips through the nation and parents and teachers prepare for the start of the school year, many of which have already gone back. Many schools started back last week. I assume most of the country will be back to school by the end of this week. I don't really keep up with that kind of shit because I ain't got no kids. Fuck your kids. Not literally. Don't literally fuck kids. That's bad. At Arkansas Children's Hospital in Little Rock, 23 patients under 18 have been admitted to the hospital system last week, including 10 children in the ICU. 5 are on ventilators. More than a dozen children came to St. Louis Children's Hospital in Missouri for coronavirus in the last week. And at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, coronavirus positivity rates have reportedly risen from around 3% to above 10% among kids. A reported surge in coronavirus cases comes as federal health officials race to approve a vaccine for use in children. A Food and Drug Administration official said a COVID-19 vaccine could be approved under emergency use authorization for children under 12 as soon as early to mid-winter. Well, that's a very open window. Yes. Apparently in Washington County, which I have friends there, they sent a letter saying that the children have possibly been exposed, but are still expected to come to school unless they're feeling sick. Holy fuck. Clearly, the issue with going virtual is getting the equipment into people's hands. Invest some money into it. It's just a matter of money. Because clearly, it's possible. We need to expand broadband access. I got a little cotton mouth. Hopefully, we're going to learn about that in the reconciliation bill. In 10 days, 6 members of Jacksonville Church die from COVID-19. In 10 days, 6 members of a church die from COVID-19.
Facing the fall. This just in, Duval County parents, you can now opt out of your child wearing a face covering for the school year.
Jesus Christ.
Now online in your Focus account. It's located in the Forms folder. Earlier this week, DCPS made a policy that strongly recommends students wear face coverings unless their parents opt out using the online.
Oh, goddamn.
Students will not be disciplined for not wearing a face covering. Impact Church in Arlington says 6 of its members have died from COVID-19 in the last 10 days. Other church members are...
Your kids don't have to wear a face covering. 6 members of this church have died in the last 10 days.
Battling the virus in the hospital tonight. News for Jax reporter Marilyn Parker joins us in the newsroom after speaking with the senior pastor, Bishop George Davis. Marilyn, do the members believe they got the virus while at church?
No, the pastor says he's certain after speaking with those family members that
spoke to God about it.
somewhere else. Now the church is pushing to get as many people vaccinated as possible. A swarm of COVID-19 cases reported in...
And let's be clear, it's not out of an abundance of caution for their health. It's that they don't want their church members dropping out and not filling their coffers every Sunday.
Inside the Jackson
It's a business.
Church. Senior pastor George Davis says his phone hasn't stopped ringing.
In the last 10 days, we have had 6 members of our church who have passed away from COVID. 4 of them were under the age of 35.
Guess it was God's plan, right?
They had in common that each of them were not vaccinated.
He says 15 to 20 members are in the hospital, another 10 or so at home with the virus, and 3 to 5 vaccinated members also tested positive.
Well, it's pain. These are actual people that I know, that I've pastored, that one 24-year-old
Well, it's wild that they say that because they also, in the same breath, will question teachers and protest CRT and bullshit.
It's been a cascade of additional cases. Those who passed, he says, weren't in the hospital long before they went terminal. During church services, they require masks. The auditorium is thoroughly cleaned in between services.
I mean, at least the church is taking it seriously.
Offer hand sanitizer. Davis is pushing to get more people vaccinated.
But that's another issue, though, is like, if you're a church, you're in the middle of a pandemic, get on fucking Twitch, dude. We do it. I do a 2-hour show every day. What's to stop you? Your message is no different whether they're sitting there with you in person, whether they're sitting at home. And you got to build that sense of community. You got to get that dopamine dripping in the back of their skulls in order to get them to give you the money into the plate.
The tables here where they'll have a chance to actually register.
They held a vaccine event in March where he says they vaccinated about 800 people.
Good on them. Good on them that they held a vaccine drive.
Another event.
All I know is my heart and passion is to help the people that I'm called to serve.
So I will say, at least this wasn't like a dumb fuck pastor like Greg Locke that was up there like, you will not wear masks in this church. It was a tent, not a church.
The vaccine. The free vaccine event is Sunday at the church from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're working with...
Well, you can't plug it for me because, you know, my people missed it. We're watching this on Monday. Fucking, remember I did the story last week? We threw away 60,000 vials of vaccine here in Alabama. Massive crowds demand access to vaccines in viral video. This is a scene from Indonesia. Thousands of people poured into a vaccination site in pandemic hit Indonesia this week after amassing outside closed gates and demanding to be let in. Chaotic scene that raised fears over a lack of social distancing. Yes. The incident occurred on Tuesday at a sports hall in the North Matrin city of Medan, a day before the Southeast Asian country recorded 100,000 official deaths, with the Delta variant fueling the outbreak and making Indonesia the epicenter of the pandemic in the region. Watch the video here. See if it'll load up. For some reason I have a hard time watching Instagram videos. Oh, there we go. So while the U.S. is throwing out vaccines, these motherfuckers are making a run on a vaccine site. Capitalism, isn't it wonderful? Anger grew as the hours passed on a hot day. People chanted outside the gate as police officers tried to maintain control. About 3 hours later, they relented and people began pouring into the site. Moving past the police, footage shows a woman being carried away, apparently from fainting. They had expired. Yeah, I don't know why, if they knew they were coming up on the expiration date, they didn't ship them somewhere where they could be of use. Now, some teens are seeking help for being able to go under the radar with their stupid-ass parents blocking them from getting a vaccine. CNN did this piece about how teens are able to get help without parental consent.
The White House is pushing for students 12 and older to get vaccinated. But for some young adults, their parents may not agree to getting them vaccinated against COVID. One teenager is helping her peers get.
If the parents don't agree, they are morons. I'm sorry, at this point, like, I'm just gonna shame people.
Informed about their rights, and she is joining us now, Kelly Daniel-Poor, who is the founder of VaxTeen, which is a website. Kelly, thank you so much for being with us. You have this website, and it allows teenagers to go on and look at state-specific information about what they can and cannot do when it comes to their health if they don't have the consent of a person, or of a parent, I should say. You know,
Of a person, just any old person off the street,
young people,
consent for you.
if they don't have consent, proceed. How do they do that?
Thank you so much for having me here. Yes, so I actually, prior to the pandemic, started VaxTeen after discovering that many teenagers whose parents really didn't have very positive views about vaccinations were going online and trying to get vaccinated and seeking this information. And so if you are a teen whose parent perhaps doesn't hold such a great view of vaccines, you
Is an idiot. That was a polite way of saying idiot.
related to the right to get vaccinated. And so you, in various states, there are bills, laws, accepted practices, which states that a minor can get vaccinated or receive specific healthcare services, including vaccines, without the consent of a parent or guardian.
So you cite.
She means a minor as in, you know, someone under the age of 18, not somebody that's, you know,
I was surprised to find
all
out
in
that
16
there are many
tons.
states where, as long as a doctor believes that the young person is informed and is doing this with proper information, that they can go ahead and proceed. What about a situation where, you know, like a family doctor might not want to override parents? What happens then?
That's fair, and yes, many of the bills and laws that do uphold this right depend on a judgment of maturity by a provider. So the provider has to say that they believe that a young person is sufficiently mature to make this decision for themselves. And it is this gray area, and I think it is hard for a young person, for a parent, for a provider to sort of determine what is right and what conversation.
The anti-vaxxers ran her out of the country. That's why she's coming to us from London.
Very fair.
Poor little girl. I'm being facetious when I say that. That was a joke.
Hope is that there are providers available to every young person that will, but really just as well making sure that the young person is a part of this conversation, that
No vax for the coal miners.
have a say in their health. And I think
Well, lucky for them, there's not that many coal miners.
the idea that we should all feel safe and healthy and protect our communities, and I think young people have an incredibly important role to play in that. And
There's
so
like more people working for Kmart than there are coal miners.
for everyone
And that should tell you something, because there's not that many Kmarts anymore. I had this argument with, I think it was Media Winch the other day, about, like, you know, is Kmart still a thing? She's like, no, Kmart's not still. And I'm like, yeah, they've still got some stores somewhere. And then I had to look it up. You know, there's like 50. And there are more people that work for Kmart than are minors. And that might be Sears Holding Company, like, all together when I say that.
Yeah.
issues involved.
I didn't just make that up. I saw that stat somewhere.
The important thing is this idea of someone has a right to be healthy, and that a young
But it's also a couple years old, so maybe they've downsized more. I don't know.
So what
But comparative.
hearing from young people who want to use this resource?
Well, that doesn't mean they're extracting less coal. It just means they're using more machines and automation. They're blowing off the tops of fucking mountains more.
It ranges. So for some, it's parents who are hesitant and they want help convincing them. And I think that is such an incredible thing that a teenager could really have this belief, even if their parents do not, and try and convince them. And then there's
I used to work for Olin Mills. Kmart was a big part of my life for a while. I worked inside of Kmart's.
that a vaccine could have a microchip in it, or sort of ranging.
Nope. They filed for bankruptcy. They didn't fold. They are still around.
Just about a COVID vaccination or all vaccinations.
This is the total of Sears and Kmart's. Like 181 in California. Oh, this is from 6 years ago. Fuck, that's way out of date. This is a more current map. This is your map of Kmart's. Apparently there's still one in Hawaii. I got a couple of Kmart's. I didn't realize that. I haven't been in a fucking Kmart in years. That's what media would say. When's the last time you've been in a Kmart? 10 years ago? All right. So speaking of vaccines, Rand Paul, who is wrong on everything at all times. I don't know what he said. I've been saving this all day. I haven't watched what he said. I'm sure it's fucking stupid. I've seen other people say it's stupid. So I'm assuming it's really fucking stupid. So here you go. Senator Rand Paul, who is not a doctor, who is an optometrist or an ophthalmologist, and apparently, he couldn't even pass the fucking whatever the licensing exam it was, and he made his own board or something. I've seen other people say that. Well, I know that he's been talking about how if you've been infected with COVID already, you're immune. He's been saying that, and that's not true. That's not true at all.
It's time for us to resist. They can't arrest all of us. They can't keep all of your kids home from school. They can't keep every government building closed, although I've got a long list of ones they might keep closed or might ought to keep closed. We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and bureaucrats. We can simply say no, not again.
Exactly.
Nancy Pelosi, you will not arrest or stop me or anyone on my staff from doing our jobs. We have either had COVID, had the vaccine, or been offered the vaccine.
See? We've had COVID. He has had COVID already. Please let Rand Paul get reinfected after he has come out here and said all this stupid shit. Please. Yes, let's all move to Rand Paul's neighborhood.
We will make our own health choices. We will not show you a passport. We will not wear a mask. We will not be forced into random screenings and testings. So
I'm not high enough for this shit.
Drunk with power, reign over the Capitol. President Biden, we will not accept your agency's mandates or your reported moves towards a lockdown. No one should follow the CDC's anti-science mask mandates. And if you want to shut down federal agencies again,
No. I think CDC telling us to unmask after getting vaccinated was against the science. I think they should have told us to stay masked. I understand it was like a political move to motivate people to get to motivate people to get vaccinated. To tell you that you can take off your mask if you get vaccinated. But we knew the Delta variant was coming. So God, we've got 2 more minutes of this. I'm not high enough.
Dates. And if you want to shut down federal agencies again.
And that's another thing is they're all talking like lockdowns are coming, but I'm not seeing anything from anybody that would indicate it's coming. And holy shit! We need government mandates because here's the thing. Concerts are already being canceled. Garth Brooks is going to reevaluate his stadium tour. The Jazz Fest in New Orleans has been canceled. The next, whatever the festival is after Lollapalooza that was supposed to be held in Chicago, has been canceled. Leonard Skinner was supposed to perform 30 minutes down the road. They have had to be replaced by the Marshall Tucker Band because Leonard Skinner has COVID. I don't know if all of them. One of them tested positive. So we need the government to step in and do actual lockdowns so that people have the resources. We need to support them financially. We need to do the eviction and rent moratoriums. Put a pause on mortgages. Because if not, it's to fucking Garth Brooks. Praise be to Gorth. Because if not, it's just going to be these restaurants are going to open up. All their staff are going to get the COVID. They're going to have to shut down, and they're going to go out of business. It's inevitable. I don't know what everybody's going to do when all the kids go back to school and they have to quarantine. What are the parents supposed to do after the kids get exposed and they're supposed to quarantine? What are the parents going to do when they have to go to work? You're encouraging the spread of it. I do not blame you, Merkin. That's another thing. Is like we're gonna do the Friday Night Freak Show on Friday. Like I'm gonna quit promoting it as hard as I did because like Sparkles is caring for a person with COVID at this moment. I had plans to bring other people in here, and it was going to be a party type atmosphere. Ain't nothing wrong with some Southern rock. Now, I worked for a conglomerate of radio stations that had 2 country stations. And I said, one of them should be the pop country, the new country shit. But like the other country station that we had, both of them were 50,000 watts. The other country station we had should have been like Southern rock mixed with like outlaw country and shit. But no, it was just another fucking pop country station. Stupid. Stupid, stupid. I don't see how we have any sort of semblance of normalcy going into the fall. I don't see how the train wreck doesn't happen right here in front of us in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I am really alarmed. I'm just relaying information to you, and I've been saying at least there was a ray of hope with how, the UK lifted the restrictions and the cases started going down. That was an aberration, apparently. It is plateaued. And with ass fucks like Rand Paul saying stupid shit like this, I don't know how we get out of this.
Some of which aren't even back to work yet. I will stop every bill coming through the Senate with an amendment to cut their funding if they don't come back to work in person. Local bureaucrats and union bosses, we will not allow you to do more harm to our children again this year. Children are not at any more risk from COVID than they are from the seasonal flu.
Wrong. I'm worried about playing this from a sitting senator because that is misinformation. That is wrong. Wrong. Well, we acquired the other, it was a conglomerate of radio stations. We acquired another country station. But wouldn't that make sense? Make it a Southern rock. We're talking Eastern Kentucky here. Southwest Virginia. Make it a Southern rock, outlaw country kind of station. We weren't in the time of, the Jason Isabels or however the fuck you say it. And this new crop of country artists and the Shooter Jennings and all those that are fucking breaking the mold. Outlaw country was kind of stale at the time. It was going to be old shit. Back to fucking Rand Paul.
Every adult who works in schools has either had the vaccine or had their chance to get vaccinated. There is no reason for mask mandates, part-time schools, or any lockdown measures.
Oh my God.
Children are falling behind in school and are being harmed physically and psychologically by the tactics that you have used to keep them from the classroom.
And I hate that argument. We should have taken this time to let children be children, let them go play outside and shit and use their imagination and not have the pressures of school. Yeah, you should still do the distance learning thing. Go easy on them. It's a pandemic. Thank you. You agree that Rand Paul has been wrong about everything in this video. Thank you. You went in doubting me when I said that. Yeah, this was 15 years ago.
Last year. We won't allow it again. If a school system attempts to keep children from full-time in-person school...
It was right when Taylor Swift broke through.
2 amendments. One to defund them, and another to allow parents the choice of where the money goes for their child's
I went on the rant the other day about the pop songs that played on the radio all the time. What was the key down the fucking corridor or whatever, the country song that put Taylor Swift on the map? Oh my God, I can't hear that again. It makes me want to bang my head against the wall. He's so fucking stupid. And we've still got another minute and a half of this. I'm so sorry.
Behind in school and are being harmed physically and psychologically by the tactics that you have used to keep them from the classroom during the last year. We won't allow it again. If a school system attempts to keep children from full-time in-person school, I will hold up every bill with 2 amendments, one to defund them and another to allow parents the choice of where the money goes for their child's education. Do I sound fed up to you? That's because I am. I'm not a career politician. I
think you might have been thinking of Ron Paul, his dad.
School. I've worked in emergency rooms. I've studied immunology and bio.
And let's be clear, like, Ron Paul is still a nut job as well. But yes, you will listen to Ron Paul talk, and some of the shit he says will make sense. It mesmerized by it, like, what is up with that hair? That's what I want to know. Ron Paul, though, at one point in time, I might have voted for him for president just because, like, fuck Obama. But Ron Paul is also a nut job.
Urology, and I ultimately
He did not.
become an eye surgeon. I've been telling everyone for a year now.
He said eye surgeon? He's a fucking self-certified optometrist.
That Dr. Fauci and other public health bureaucrats were not following the science, and I've been proven right time and time again. But I'm not the only one who's fed up. I can't go anywhere these days without people coming up and thanking me for standing up for them, whether I'm at work or at events in Kentucky, at airports.
Why don't you go to the hospital and ask some people?
People thank me for taking
I bet they wouldn't be thanking you then.
For standing up for actual science.
No, the motherfuckers are not going to be thanking you when they're in the hospital. Rand, I seriously hope this motherfucker hasn't been vaccinated. I seriously, because it's just a matter of time. It's like playing Russian roulette. I hope he hasn't been vaccinated. But like a Republican being a hypocrite, I wouldn't doubt it one bit. But Rand Paul seems to believe his bullshit. So I said 50-50 chance he's vaccinated.
For standing up for freedom, for standing against mandates, lockdowns, and bureaucratic power grabs. I think the tide is turning as more and more people are willing to stand up. I see stories from across the country of parents standing up to the unions and school boards. I see brave moms standing up and saying, my kids need to go back to school in person. I see members of Congress refusing to comply with petty tyrant Pelosi. We are at a moment of truth and a crossroads. Will we allow these people to use fear and propaganda?
Hey, I'm not going to bitch about any. I'm not going to make jokes about anybody's baldness. So,
or will we stand together and say,
I cannot knock somebody for trying to cover their baldness. I have taken my bandana off multiple times on this show.
I choose freedom.
God damn, he's a fucking moron. I should have put a content warning on that. Just because you had to listen to Rand Paul. Now, he is talking about all the people that he's seeing across the country that are standing up to the unions and the school boards. How many of those people do you think are actually paid actors? This article on Board Panda says Twitter thread shares proof on how some anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers are really actors paid to spread misinformation. Huh. By the way, that dude that I pointed out last night that I showed his messages, he got in my DMs, he said he was being paid to troll me. I don't believe it. But, I mean, clearly it's possible. Because one, I don't think if you were paid to troll me, you would tell me that you're paid to troll me. Hang on to your seatbelt, 2020, because 2021 might have one-upped you. Just when you think you've seen pretty much everything that life can throw at you, you learn that some of the protesters and activists standing against COVID-19 vaccinations might actually be paid actors. That's the bombshell that Californian Chad Loader dropped on his Twitter feed. Chad shared evidence indicating that some of the anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers you may have seen on the news and at rallies are actors with their very own IMDb pages. It's truly mind-boggling and opens up a door into the shady realm of behind-the-scenes dealing when it comes to politics. And we know this. We've seen examples of this. This is what the Tea Party did in, 2010. It was all astroturfed. Rich people and their capitalist propaganda. They're able to fucking spend millions of dollars on Facebook ads. They're able to buy paid actors to go protest at events. We know that the people that were watching Donald Trump come down the elevator in 2015, when he made his announcement, when he did the Mexico is rapists and drug smugglers and shit, and maybe some of them are good people, that speech. When he did that speech, the people in the audience were paid to be there. This is a common Republican tactic. Oh, this anti-vaxxer getting humiliated is named Ashley Jeffrey. Ashley Jeffrey is an actor with an IMDb profile. He has no visible means of income. He has unlimited free time to attend anti-vax events 5 days a week.
Probably down here because you're just trying to instigate.
I not instigate. I'm not going to get violent or anything. I just like to make people look.
This is the guy we're talking about here.
How are you doing?
Ashley Jeffrey.
By letting you speak.
No, really? Who's looking stupid, me or you?
Show everyone your shirt.
Here's the thing, we're living in dangerous times because thousands of doctors are being censored. Thousands. Look up America's Frontline Doctors. AmericasFrontlineDoctors.org. You get a lot of...
Those people are stupid. If you see anybody say, like, the inventor of the mRNA vaccine says they're dangerous.
Why did he say that?
We treated people in a way that was very natural with food-based products.
So the people that are like being censored, they're being censored because they're like quack doctors that shouldn't have licenses.
Thousands of doctors?
Quack doctors.
Welcome, Cricks.
A lot of them have their merchandise where they're trying to sell like through the wellness industry. So first of all, if you're an epidemiologist and you're...
So we are learning that this dude is probably a paid actor to go out with these t-shirts and shit.
A lot of them are just PhDs.
No, that's not true.
Yes, we need to take the profit motive out of certain industries, and we especially need to take the profit motive out of politics. The man also posted the links to each actor's IMDb profile so that everyone can see the proof for themselves and make up their own minds. Shiva Bagari, a.k.a. Shiva Gordon, is an anti-vaxxer and organizer of the Beverly Hills Trump rallies. Shiva Bagari is an actor with an IMDb profile. Shiva has no visible means of income and attends rallies 5 days a week. Jason Lefkowitz is an anti-vaxxer and anti-masker. Jason Lefkowitz is an actor and failed stand-up comedian. Jason has no visible means of income and attends rallies 5 days a week. Goes on and on. Jess Weber is a Capitol rioter who films all these anti-vax rallies and he platforms their conspiracy theories. Jess Weber is an actor and failed stand-up comedian. That we need to take the profit motive. And, I'm not saying capitalism is bad all the time. I think on a micro scale, not the macro. In your local community, fucking shops competing with each other and restaurants competing for business in a controlled environment is a good thing. I think the profit motive needs to be taken out of definitely fucking pharmaceuticals, politics, the energy industry. Well, they can, but... how are they doing this? Actors are usually starving, right? Not having a visible means of income is weird. And do you really believe, as I've said, we've seen these tactics over and over and over again from right-wingers, that they astroturf these protests. That way Rand Paul can get up and make his stupid-ass fucking video and say, oh, I've seen people all over the country protesting these draconian measures, or whatever the fuck he said. But throughout all of this, we haven't really thought about the landlords, have we? Has anyone thought about the poor landlords? One of them went on Fox News. Of course you have, Warlord. What you been thinking about them? How tasty they are?
Is half of the rental unit owners in America are mom and pop operators, people who cannot afford to lose. You've lost $20,000 so far. Is there any chance that the federal government is going to make you whole, buddy?
No. And the bad part, the one thing that wasn't shown in that, the guy didn't pay me rent, and evidently was getting money from somewhere, and he had 3 boats. Well, lo and behold, the middle of the summer, their air conditioner went out. And so I had to put about a $4,500 heat pump on.
Yeah, that's your job.
To make sure that they
your
stayed.
Job.
And I didn't receive any rent or anything. So, it goes way beyond the loss of rental income. We're still bound by county rules and laws. We have to maintain the property.
Unbelievable. So the people who are not paying you rent called you up and said, hey, my air conditioner isn't working, and you are bound by law to fix it. And now
yes.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's not working too well.
Doocy, what the fuck? You're a landlord and you're bound by law to keep up your property. Ain't that something? Why the fuck are you asking me what state I'm in? I say it all the time. It's weird for somebody to come in my chat and ask me what state I'm in. Why the fuck do you want to know? Call in 917-830-4359 and tell me why you are interested in what state I'm in. Or hop in the Discord. There's the link for you, buddy. I'm interested. They seem focused on what state I'm in. Well, then shut the fuck up then.
If somebody from the White House is watching, I hope they are going to do something to fix it, because folks like you are hurting. Buddy Schaup, thank you very much for joining us today from North Carolina.
Well, your connection has nothing to do with what state I'm sitting in right now. Now, I wanted to bring up the landlords. I've mentioned it multiple times. There's an economist talks about how we need to move into a position where we are treating the economy as if, the pitchforks are coming. Maybe. I am a known cum slut. I will fuck just about anybody. So it's possible. What kind of fucking tool you working with? I mean, don't share it in the chat. I'm sure that's against TOS, but you can send me a whisper and show it to me. I'll probably send it to Curiouser. She loves dick pics. Well, I'm waiting for a response. Come on. I mean, I think I'm pretty fuckable. It kind of depends on, like... Curiouser, my fuckable. Yeah, we're gonna talk. I had such a great transition from the landlords here in the U.S. to talking about South Africa. I miss you, by the way. I wish you'd come down. I've never mentioned it on the chat, but like, Curiouser is my ex-girlfriend. That's why you might. There's a little bit of contention between us, but like, we love each other. I try not to lie. I try to be very factual on this show. Yes, my ex-girlfriend is in the chat with you right now. We are still close. I would like her to come down and let me cook for her. Yeah, because it seems like we're, kind of at odds with each other a lot of times, but this is a more playful ribbing. No, I actually think she's probably upset with me right now because I have her blocked from sending me messages. I'm not the best. No, I don't have the biggest dick either, but it's pretty. I fucking love you. He's got a tasty ass, I'll tell you that. I made her blush, too. Right, Sophros Greek. Where'd you go? No, usually I am a top. I'm a top versatile. I saw the cartoon. It was like the comic book strip of American Dad asking the gay guy if he could have sex with him, and he's like, I'm a power top, if I have my terminology correct. Why did you unfriend me? Because no, I just didn't want you to send me messages all the time. Like, interact with me. Which, I mean, you can't interact with me right now. I'm fucking banned. I try to keep relations. I do try to keep relations with some of my exes. I try to keep relationships with some of my exes. Many as I can. Some of them are like, I kind of like the crazy, you know. Speaking of which, I should message one of my exes. I haven't heard from her in a while. Like, I hope that doesn't mean that she got back together with her husband she was going to divorce. I was looking forward to seeing her again. God, this is like, I was getting ready to talk about violence in South Africa and the remnants of apartheid and shit. Yeah, Curiouser wants to get off this subject. Like the most famous trans girl MAGA in the U.S. was talking to me on Grindr just a couple weeks ago. I was all about, like, I wanted to have her on the show and have her in there in my bedroom. He does not have a younger sister. She has a bestie, and like, she's not for everybody. I like her. I think she's cool. Oh yeah, you wanted to go back to politics, didn't you? We're gonna watch a... You like me? You want to come down and have my chicken parm? What have I been cooking? Like, I've been making these back, like, cause I got the pan that I can fry shit in. I can deep fry shit. Oh my god, that pan is wonderful. It looked like my internet took a hit a second ago, but it's bouncing back. Fucking, because I'm on a VPN, like, sometimes, like, the server just gets busy and I take a hit. So my apologies if you're not seeing my face in clear 30 frames a second. All right, well, if Self-Rust Geek doesn't want to chat with me here, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about remnants of apartheid in Africa. Remember, we were talking about landlords bitching about not being able to kick people out during a pandemic. There's a reason why I wanted to transition to this here in South Africa, where they have high levels of inequality, especially among races, and conditions are being exacerbated by the pandemic.
In recent weeks, South Africa has seen some of its worst violence since the apartheid era.
That they must know that they will shoot with us, they get it.
Fueled by inequality, the pandemic, and the arrest of a former president. Protests and looting erupted across the country.
I'm looting because we apply for jobs, they don't give us jobs. We try and go to offices, try a strike, it doesn't even work.
Over 330 people have died across South Africa.
Oh, I'm sorry, Glimmering.
After a week of violence. In a country where half the population live below the poverty line.
Everything, our whole life, everything is just gone. They've burnt everything.
It's just absolutely devastating. What happens here? How long is this are we going to take to get back onto our feet?
Yeah, they burned down a whole like LG factory.
Vigilante groups formed to protect.
I think that's the mall where the fucking shooting happened a few years ago. Like, it's a gigantic mall.
The scars of apartheid reappeared.
South Africa is such a beautiful country. I want to visit it.
And corrupt government.
Doesn't seem like now's a very good time. You shouldn't be visiting anywhere. Moment.
This is the inside account of a week that brought the Rainbow Nation to its knees.
We are in hell. We must think on how to...
Now, this Vice piece that we're watching isn't going to come out and explicitly say it, but when we get to a certain part, I'm going to point out what the problem is in South Africa. My upload speed is bouncing back and forth. It could possibly be me.
Was ready for shipment to the UK. We're immigrating at the end of the month, and we've arrived on site on Tuesday to assess damage, and we've been here ever since.
I want to see if you guys actually pick up on what the problem might be here.
Unrest and looting. Residents of Durban assess the damage to a...
I'm sure you guys already know.
Well, it started out politically, but then after that, people just did it stupidly, like honestly, because we can't say it's politics. This is not politically affiliated to nobody, ne?
Just trying to make sense of it all.
No, that's true.
All our albums, all our photo albums, all our kids' history, the drawings, paintings.
I mean, why couldn't they just take the stuff and just be done? Why do they have to burn? All my memories, all my children's photographs, everything is gone.
Across the week, $1.4 billion worth of damage was caused across the country.
I mean, we did the story about the space station flipping.
So why?
Maybe that had some effects.
No, it's not.
It's the Gorth. It's the Gorth. If it's been since last night, the Gorth is setting in.
Simple as that.
So yeah, this is what we're left with. It's quite devastating.
Now we've got to deal with everything that's gonna happen. Stores getting closed, food shortages. We've been shopping throughout the day. The queue has been long.
And I'm sure this is just exacerbated by the pandemic. Supply chains have already been facing disruption.
Protests erupted after former President Jacob Zuma was sentenced to jail for refusing to stand trial on corruption charges. The protests descended into days of widespread rioting and looting, with many motivated by hunger and unemployment over politics.
Today, South Africa is witnessing what some of us who have been warning the so-called politicians about the reality.
The ruling class. You've been warning the ruling class in Africa, in South Africa, the country of South Africa.
12.8 million people are unemployed.
During the violence, people lost their lives and their livelihoods.
Not gremlins, Gorp.
The police struggled to deal with the scale of the unrest.
I'm blaming everything on Gorp from now on. Once again, I'm so glad I stayed up late last night and I was able to witness that. Are they just ransacking their car? I don't know what's going on here.
Durban residents, like trauma doctor Kevin Naidu, have dealt with smaller scale unrest before. The community.
Now, they did have a police force problem in South Africa, as I understand it. Once again, foreign affairs is not really my thing.
And it's a bleak situation. We have been manning this area for the last 3 days and 3 nights in order to protect our residents from any further looting, any further violence against them, and
dude already had a fucking armed vehicle.
Some of us have been sleeping only 2 hours, an hour, coming back, taking
up armored vehicle, whatever the fuck you call it.
Many in Durban formed armed community protection groups.
I need to know by show of hands who's carrying.
Welcome, Adam.
No hitching of vehicles, Oaks. No antagonizing these Oaks. Please, no shooting the Oaks with paintballs and.
Pay close attention to the race of the people defending themselves. Pay close attention to their accents.
Pellet guns for nothing. Right, they come here, that's fine. We are going to defend.
I mean, what are we? We're 30 years removed, if that, 25 from apartheid ending?
In a business park, banded together to repel any looters.
Just try and keep it at that. Okay. I know there's a lot of people that are angry. There's angry people on that side too.
You're not here to pick a fight. You have to stop that.
President Ramaphosa urged citizens to return to their homes.
Yeah, 25, 30 years. It says early 90s.
If they come here, but if they're coming at us,
that's not antagonizing. That's
we're gonna take it. We're gonna
cross this line. This is our fucking. We're gonna stop them right here. What the fuck are you doing this side? You go that side. That's looting. That's for free. Go there.
I just like. There's a racial disparity there. That you notice that all the white people are defending their businesses.
These private security guards worked around the clock during the week's deadly unrest.
The streets are a lot cleaner than what it was. We had quite a rough time. Very little sleep.
You know, okay, I have not done this story about the sonic weapons. I've actually known about it since it had the first. Well, the first time I heard about it was 2018. I don't know when the first attack actually happened. Like the fucking, they call it Havana syndrome or whatever the fuck it is. That shit is wild. Apparently there was another attack a few months ago.
A lot of shop owners and everything felt the pinch. They got hit the worst. I think a lot of them will not going to be able to recover from this. And being on high alert for the next wave, as the rumors are going around, it's also a bit stressful.
Security guards tried to protect shops and services in the city of Durban by chasing looters and dispersing them with rubber bullets.
Join those fuckers!
Look how beautiful the country is, though. I feel so sorry that all this is going on.
Those without security had to protect essential services themselves.
What we're doing at the moment is we are trying to assist the community. We're all business owners, and we are helping out where we can.
We're all business owners, and we all happen to be a specific color and speaking with a certain accent.
First petrol stations to have got fuel in.
Do you think maybe that has something to do with why there is unrest?
Infrastructure doesn't get ruined. We've all sacrificed.
Now I know I'm being awfully simplistic about that.
In our community.
But you can't tell me that this isn't the remnants of an apartheid state.
Vital supplies of food, petrol, and medicine were in short supply. Goods such as baby milk had to be flown in by a small fleet of volunteer pilots.
And that, like, this is just the residual upheavals.
We understand the plight of the people of KZN, and a small contribution we can do, we're definitely willing to assist.
So that is what it's like in South Africa currently. Meanwhile, we move to the Middle East. Oh yes, all praise Gorth on this channel. Someone get Nathan L to call in or fucking come on with me. I want to have a rational discussion with him. This is video from Kabul from yesterday, where apparently the Taliban is taking back over. The Taliban had been negotiating with the Chinese for months in anticipation of the U.S. withdrawal. I mean, this is just a horrible situation. I feel sorry for these people. But also, just our presence is making it worse. We shouldn't be there. Taliban has overtaken 6 provincial capitals within a matter of days. There has been worry that the Taliban is going to execute anyone that worked with the U.S. Well, there's been a big push to get translators and people that assisted our military out.
7 West, 700 North, McCord.
Oh shit, fucking go back. I hate Facebook autoplaying. I want to actually go to the story. Taliban's northern strategy puts huge pressure on government. Collapse of Kunduz, a major city in Afghanistan's north, has set off a new wave of displacement as thousands of people flee the city, fearing life under Taliban rule, and an escalation of violence as government forces vow to retake the commercial hub. Hundreds fled to the Afghan capital of Kabul, where a fenced-in basketball court was quickly transformed into a place of refuge. In a matter of days, the Taliban has overtaken 6 provincial capitals. Now, we are reading from the New York Times. Let's put, like, there is going to be an imperialist U.S. bent to the New York Times. In a matter of days, the Taliban have overtaken 6 provincial capitals in a land offensive that has led many local officials to abandon their posts and flee the cities they administer. The U.S. response has been muted. The Biden administration has made it clear that America's 20-year war in Afghanistan is over. But the scale of the humanitarian crisis is likely to grow in the coming days and weeks, especially as the Taliban extend their reach over more territory. I'm sorry, Gorth. I apologize. Praise be to Gorth. The fucking... Chank on the Young Turks said something in a news report like 2 or 3 nights ago. It just stopped me dead in my tracks. They might have been talking about Tucker Carlson being in Hungary or whatever. I don't remember what it was. I only watched the clips of the Young Turks. But like, the fascist coup is here. 2022 and 2024, they are going to try to execute it. Congratulations. Like, they have accelerated it. They see the writing on the wall that the millennials are going to take over within this decade, and that we are going to drastically change the system. And it scares the shit out of them that they are going to lose power, and that we're going to come for them with the pitchforks. And their only recourse is to harness what little shred of democracy we have left, prevent all the rest of us from voting as best they can. And they are like, the red states are going to overturn the electors, and they're going to insert whoever the fuck they want in 2024. That's the plan. It's clear now. They're going to like. So if Pennsylvania goes for a Democrat and the state house is controlled by Republicans, then they are going to overturn they are going to overturn the will of the people, and they're going to insert Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Tucker Carlson, whichever one it is. Yeah, I've been in the red, but it's like I'm over 1,000 kilobits a second, so like I don't know. I'm sorry. My apologies. That everything is running behind. It could be the Gorth. It could be the United States fucking with me, because I'm getting ready to fuck with Biden and Obama. So it very well could be the NSA. They heard my plugs earlier in the show, and they're like, yep. We're not going to shut it down. We're just going to make it where it's going to be hard to listen. Yeah, remember why we got into Afghanistan? It's been a 20-year war. Remember what happened 20 years ago next month? The Saudis attacked us. 9/11 families pressure Biden to declassify U.S. files on the Saudi role. Family members of the victims of September 11th attacks are opposing U.S. President Joe Biden's participation in memorial events unless he declassifies government documents that they contend will show Saudi Arabian leaders supported the attacks. I thought we already had that evidence. Now, I know there's a shit ton of stuff that was redacted from the 9/11 Commission report, but I thought the report itself pretty much said, yeah, the Saudis supported it. Victims' family members, joined by first responders and survivors of the attack, released a letter on Friday as the attack's 20th anniversary nears, calling on Biden to skip this year's memorial events unless he releases the documents. 20 years later, there is simply no reason, unmerited claims of national security or otherwise, to keep this information secret. You're here. But if President Biden reneges on his commitment and sides with the Saudi government, we would be compelled to publicly stand in objection to any participation by his administration in any memorial ceremony of 9/11. Quite the showdown we have here. I'm expecting Biden to skip it as opposed to actually releasing the documents. In total, about 1,700 people directly affected by the September 11th attacks signed the letter. The Saudi embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to a request by Reuters for comment. Saudi Arabia has insisted it had no role in the attacks. 14 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. Family members of the September 11th victims have long sought U.S. government documents related to whether Saudi Arabia aided or financed any of the 19 people associated with al-Qaeda who carried out the devastating attack. I'm going to have to go back and look at this shit. I thought it was well known. Al-Qaeda operatives crashed 3 commercial jet planes into the Twin Towers of New York's World Trade Center. I'm sure I don't have to recap that. Everybody knows that. White House officials have had several meetings with groups representing the September 11th families regarding their document requests. Our hearts are with the families who lost loved ones on 9/11, especially in these days preceding the 20th anniversary of the attacks coming up just next month, Jen Psaki said. During a White House press briefing on Friday, Biden